Alright, let's go ahead and jump right into the build here. So for the archetypes, I'm running Challenger in the prime slot and Alchemist in the secondary slot, with Juggernaut as the skill, which is going to be giving us Bulwark, melee speed, and melee damage, so pretty huge skill here for our melee build. And then the Vial of Frenzy Dust for the Alchemist, which is going to be giving us that increased melee speed by 20%, as well as that move speed, which is also pretty useful. Over on into the armor. Now this is actually important for this build. I am running the Realmwalker Beret, the Elder Raiment, the Elder Leggings, and the Bandit Gloves. Now this is intentional because I'm trying to make sure that my weight is 0. That way I'm getting as much damage as possible, and I'll explain that here in just a moment. Onto the relic. Currently I'm using the Shielded Heart, and I'm running the melee attack speed, melee critical chance, and melee critical damage in here. Now, you can run the Shielded Heart. You could also run something like Void Heart. This is really a matter of personal preference. I tend to like Void Heart when I'm running around the overworld maps, just in case I get hit and I need to heal myself. And I like Shielded Heart for when I'm fighting bosses to give me a little bit of extra durability so I can take another couple of hits. Because while I'd like to be perfect, I am certainly not. Over to the Amulet and Rings. For the Amulet, I am running the Matriarch's Insignia, which is increasing our melee damage by 35%. I'm running the Berserker's Crest as my first ring, which is reducing our melee charge speed. The stamina here I don't really care about because I'm running the Bisected Ring, but that charge speed is super useful when you're constantly throwing heavy attacks, especially with World's Edge. I'm running the Fey Warrior Ring for the 15% flat increase on melee damage, the Bisected Ring, which is giving us infinite stamina, but it's increasing the damage we receive by 25%, and the Flyweight Sting. Now this is key to this build, it's why I have a weight of 0. It's increasing our melee damage while our armor encumbrance is below 50, with the damage bonus increasing with lower encumbrance up to 25% at weight 0. So, since we're at weight 0, we're getting an additional 25% melee damage out of this one ring, which is pretty huge. And then, I just wanted to point this out as well, I'm running the Strong Drink Concoction, which is reducing our encumbrance by 10, which allows me to wear the armor that I'm wearing and still have a weight of 0. Otherwise, you'd basically be running around effectively naked, and I'd prefer not to do that, because like I said, I'm not perfect. I'm going to take a hit eventually, and I'd like to be able to survive it. Over to the weapons, I am running the Black Maw AR-47. I haven't really messed with the mutators on these too much. I kind of just want a little bit mod damage, a little bit mod generation for these, because I'm just using this for the Song of Aether, which is allowing me to slow down those large groups of enemies, super helpful. And then over here on the Rupture Cannon, I'm running Tremor. Like I said, the mutator for this build is not super important. I'm sure you could optimize it a little bit, but I don't really care. Tremor just to help me AoE clear, especially for those situations where you just cannot get off the melee attack. And then for the weapon, this is the heart of this build. I am running the World's Edge with Overdrive on it. Now I've tested out a bunch of different melee mutators, and I find that Overdrive seems to work the best for pumping our damage. And World's Edge I really like for two occasions. I like it for clearing overworlds because the ranged attack, 1, does a ton of damage, 2, has a huge arc, 3, it goes through walls, it goes through cover, which is awesome. And 4, it just has this ability to hit weak spots for some reason, so you're going to be constantly destroying enemies on the overworld maps. And then it's also great for those bosses that you cannot hit with melee attacks, because using the charge attack, you're still going to be able to hit them, as you saw during the Nightweaver fight. And then for fights where you don't need the range damage, you can run Stonebreaker. Now Stonebreaker just does a ton of damage, so if you can get up on a boss and do melee damage, Stonebreaker is going to be the way to go, and I'll put Overdrive on that as well. So those are the two I swap between for this build, depending on the situation. Obviously, you can use World's Edge for any boss fight that you want. Stonebreaker's a little more situational, but, you know, if you're really looking to get the most out of this, I would swap between the two. Over to the traits, I have Strong Back and Potency coming from Challenger and Alchemist respectively. I've got Swiftness here for the increased movement speed. I've got Fortify for the increased armor effectiveness, which is why we still have almost 100 armor, despite our light armor, which is not too bad. I'm running Untouchable for the increased evade window, Regrowth for the health regeneration, Vigor obviously just for the flat health, Expertise for reducing our skill cooldowns because our skills are super important here, and Arcane Strike for the increased mod power generation from melee damage, just so I can get more Tremors out there and more Songs of Aether when I need them. And that's actually it. I mean, I do have 2 points in Endurance, that just comes naturally as well. But that's it for the build. So if y'all have any questions or any suggestions, please let me know down in the comments below. I always love your feedback, and I'll see you next time.